Hi there, I'm Don.
And hi, I'm Cindy. Welcome to Pearls of Liberty, July 29th, 2012. We just wanted to give a few updates this week because there was so much going on last week. First, we want to mention something that we haven't mentioned before. Where is Benjamin Fulford?
Don't look at me, I don't know.
He typically has a paid subscription blog that comes out on Monday mornings. And lo and behold, last Monday, no blog. Tuesday, no blog. And he still hasn't updated, and it's July 17th. So it's kind of interesting if you're a subscriber to go to his blog and read some of the comments, because they have more of a clue than we do. Like, for instance, the most common opinion is that the Galactic Federation took him off-world for his own safety. Do I believe that? Not personally, no. Do you believe that?
I do not. I personally think that the people that are fed up with having hope continually dashed have taken him away for his own good so he doesn't get clobbered to death. I don't know.
The Galactic Federation. So it's just kind of a curiosity, and we don't have a strong opinion about it, but we missed the blog last week. It's always nice to hear what he has to say, and his update that is still up from July 17th was a very broad stroke, positive painting of the future, that the cabal is weakening, and it's really pretty much inevitable that their plans are failing.
I agree with that, and that the cabal is weakening and doomed, and it could be that Judge Fulford has just thought it would not be expeditious of him to make any comments until we've got some major breakthroughs, and he did his summary post the week before, and you know, nobody actually that has any kind of a connection that we can tell seems particularly panicked about it, so we're not panicking about it. And even though there was this death threat or death attempt that seemed to have been real, they wrote about recently, hopefully he's taken precautions against that. And he's just one mouthpiece, and what's going on is way bigger than him, so we look forward to his reports, and hopefully stuff will break, and then he'll be free to speak. But we want to reiterate what we've said before, that we don't like false hope, but it's important to maintain hope, and I think Benjamin does do that. We don't want to say, yeah, our saviors are over here going to take care of us. Everybody needs to be moving forward, to be a voice for liberty, to be exposing darkness wherever you find it. So yeah, continue to do that, then all the more as we see this breakthrough just about to happen. So it's not a time to back off, it's a time to push through.
It certainly is, and we'll say a little bit more about that a little bit later. There are still questions remaining surrounding the shooting in Aurora. There is speculation about whether there was more than one shooter, and some other subjects, and we will have some videos and photos in our comments on YouTube and on our website, along with this video that will examine some of those visually. But
I think this is a really good case in point where you get people that are paying attention to the non-mainstream reporters that are talking about the actual events there and the actual evidence, and the second shooter person, the guy in the car, and the two different pictures of Holmes, who are obviously, if you see split down the middle, not the same person. There's way too much info for the people that do the digging or are paying attention to the non-mainstream sources. For the people that are looking for an excuse, there's ample evidence for an excuse. So you see this split between the people that are paying attention in the truth movement and the people that are dumbed down sheeple. And that's unfortunately what's happening, is in our society is you get continual awakening and continual going to sleep, and yeah, this is another proof that we got these crazies out there and we need more gun control. What I want to mention then, mind control connection too, also before we move on, there does really seem to be, and I think we've said this last week, ample evidence that this subject, James Holmes, was involved in mind control. Also, as often tends to happen when the truth media stuff tends to get too much traction, there's also some, hey, and then there's more stuff which is actually disinfo, and I see that coming out of Sorcha Fowl, which has been, the byline's been removed, and this story is floating out there, so I wanted to alert people to it. I don't believe it. It's possible that it's true, but I heard that it came from Sorcha Fowl, who's a false source, and having to do with James Holmes's father being scheduled to appear before some kind of Senate or congressional committee having to do with the banking scandal, the LIBOR scandal investigation. So I personally don't give a lot of credence to that. That's just a bit too much, and that's the kind of thing that would make truthers look foolish if it turns out to be false, and where we just run with stuff without checking it out. I would require some further justification and corroboration of that before I said anything about it. So just a heads up about that whole tactic. Anyway, mind control is a serious implication in all of this, and just the way that the subject's acting. Drugs, mind control, the whole deal. It just stinks to high heaven, and it's just more of the police state and disinfo, mainstream media control tactics. The police, the Aurora police chief giving information that he knew was false, deliberately lying. We're not going to go into details. There's a ton of information out there if you just dig a little bit.
And you raise a good point regarding, we have sources that we trust, but before we all hit the send button on different emails, if to the degree that we're able, it really is important to vet things and not just say, oh my God, this, then did you hear this? And then, because it does make us look foolish, and the people in the liberty and truth movement are supposed to be the ones who look a little deeper instead of just hopping on some train of public opinion.
Another twist to that is the whole debunking. You get the debunker bandwagon, which is filled with disinfo. So you've got these people that are afraid to believe anything that the mainstream media doesn't corroborate because they've heard of the debunkers, and the debunkers are full of BS too. So you really have to sift through all of these layers and connect the dots and find out what makes sense. And it is possible. You don't rely on authorities, but do your own research. That's what we're always saying.
And Don is very good at that and very diligent about that. But the information is out there, and it's really, I think all of us need to sharpen those skills of just asking more questions. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Are you sure? Where did you read that? Where did you hear that? What's the basis for this? And we, as I stated a minute ago, we are supposed to be the ones, and we think of ourselves as the ones, and I'm not speaking of us specifically, but we, the people in the liberty and truth movement, who ask the deeper questions and who say, wait, that doesn't make sense. So we need to call one another into account as well, and not just accept something because a liberty or truth person said it. Although, of course, we, as you can interpret based on listening to us, we do have sources that we trust almost completely. But still, if something doesn't sound right, we do question it. A few weeks ago, we questioned Fulford about one of his associations. So keep your eyes and ears and heart open, and listen to your heart too, because it's not just our head that tells us what's right and what's true.
I want to say one more thing about that, and take a step back, way back. into the time of Mark Twain and Samuel Clemens, you can find some famous quotes from him and even earlier people. Actually goes back to the time of Jefferson. It's always been around where there be the media that would contain these falsehoods, and you can find quotes from Mark Twain saying that that he trusts the opinion of the people that doesn't read the newspaper more than the people that do. The people that read the newspaper are the people that believe the lies and trust the lies. So this is nothing new. We think that because of the development of the internet, there are just more lies out there, but no, there's more truth out there, but it's that much more apparent that you have to do your own thinking, and that's a good thing, because in the past we thought we were getting the truth from the mainstream media, the Walter Cronkite, the Operation Mockingbird people, that was really setting the whole stage for this status trap that we're in now, and we thought we were getting the truth. So it's great news. It's that we need to question and sift through all this stuff, because that's the way it's always been. It's just that now we know we need to do that, and in the past we were deceived and thought that we didn't.
Would you just give that Richard Nixon quote?
Oh yeah, Richard Nixon said that the American people don't believe anything until they see it on TV. And that's the culture that was purposely created in order to create a sheep-like people. And that goal has been accomplished, except for the people that have broken out into the liberty and truth movements. And that's where we're at today. Richard Nixon, the American people won't believe anything until they see it on TV.
So, break that paradigm, please. We also want to give a little update on the arms treaty, the UN arms treaty. Of course, you probably all know that it was not signed as it had been scheduled to be signed on July 27th. So, in spite of what we interpreted as the Aurora shootings being meant to create a huge public outcry so that everyone would want the arms treaty signed, that did not happen, and the public outcry was very loud and very clear that people did not want that UN arms treaty signed, and people do want to retain Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms.
You did have a well-orchestrated attempt from major media voices, including Mayor Bloomberg and other public figures, calling for gun control. But the problem is that there was a significant backlash from the awake American people, semi-awake, however you want to characterize it, people that realize that the First Amendment is under attack. So there was enough people that did that causes this thing to be forestalled. But that doesn't mean that these guys have given up. It never does. They just back off, regroup, plan another strategy, and try to learn from the last one. The price of liberty is eternal vigilance, and that is illustrated by the way that events like this continue to come back at us, and we need to be ever watchful, ever awake, so that we can sound the alarm and not get taken off guard.
We are aware that the Olympics is this week, and David Icke and other people feel that, and of course not just this week, it's ongoing, but there is some concern that there may be or will be a false flag terror attack at the Olympic Games. So we want to be in prayer for that, and that's probably another possibility of a place where something might happen with guns, that there would be an outcry for more gun control, although guns are already illegal in England, so that might not fly there. So all in all, this was encouraging, and CCRKBA, which I know is the Citizens' Right to Keep and Bear Arms group, really credited the grassroots outcry for the defeat of the United Nations Small Arms Treaty. So I think that to some extent, at least, what all of us are doing is effective, and we certainly hope that you keep doing what you're doing and even amp it up. And we are committing to you and to each other and to God to do the same. So
yeah, there's always something to watch out for, and just the Olympics is just getting started, so that's going to keep going on for a while, and keep on the alert for some kind of an event. Might not even be a false flag event. The latest thing that I saw, and take this with a grain of salt, but it's always a possibility. So whenever some science fiction movie has a date in the future, number one, you have to check it out and find out if that date is really true. And I haven't had time to verify this one, but apparently the movie about the Philadelphia Project had a date of sometime in August of 2012 for some kind of I don't know if it was a solar flare or was some kind of an EMF event. So we were just listening to somebody this weekend talking about all the disruption that could cause, and that is certainly a possibility. If these guys, the Dark Cabal, if they don't win or think they can't win and continue to maintain their control over their slave population that they've entrapped into their legal and their enslavement system, they will pull the plug on the whole operation, and that, at this stage of the game, on the benign side of the scale, could be something like a major EMF event. Now, obviously, they can't control the sun or solar flares, but their event like that could be exacerbated and take out all of the electronics. And unless you have everything in a Faraday cage, everything, including your car, a modern car, is toast. So, what you can do about that, I'm not sure, except for maybe this is one thing we learned this weekend, put your little electronics in your microwave oven, and that'll keep them safe. So,
unless you turn it on while they're in there.
Unless you turn it on while they're in there. Because of the shielding, obviously. It's shielded to keep stuff from going out at you, but it also works the other way to keep stuff from the outside going in if it's inside and it's not turned on. Anyway, on that comforting thought, we'll say, think for yourself, including that one.
Thanks for watching.